Hey everyone, greetings. It's Naomi Wolf. I just got through an almost perfect Shabbat. As you know, I've been trying to observe Shabbat in my own rudimentary way. Just having an excuse or an obligation to turn off the phone, not look at it, not check it, not distract myself, not use it to get out of an uncomfortable conversation, an uncomfortable situation, a wait, a stressful moment, was incredibly healing. I highly recommend that alone. And just feeling like, no, not watching movies, not watching videos, tuning out from the news. It really didn't make me feel cut off. It made me feel plugged into something bigger and more important than the back and forth of the daily news or the daily, or even all these fantasies, and stories and narratives that kind of press our emotional buttons, really, and make us scared or make us happy or make us long for another world or more goods, or all the things that fantasies involve on Netflix or Amazon Prime. It was incredibly healing. I can feel my mind healing in 24 hours from the disruption of social media and technology, and the constant spinning of fantasies and narratives that are not my own. They're not. I have plenty of my own narratives in my head, and things to think about and meditate on, and consider my relationships, consider how lucky I am. Just the ability with no technology, no phone on, for 24 hours a week, really leads you to kind of, with every meal. I remember, I made, it wasn't that good. It was kind of bad, but I tried to cook. I'm a bad cook. And I made a broiled salmon, and a salad for lunch. And I remember just, taking a bite of it and thinking, I didn't create this salmon. I didn't create this salad. This food was created for me by my creator, and, found its way to my plate because he's giving me more than enough. And, if you have enough to eat, that's an incredible abundance compared with people all over the world. And even, the amazing thing is, even people who don't have enough often find the ability to praise God for what they do have. So it was just, it's very hard to describe if you haven't tried it yourself, just how transformational Shabbat is. It's not just a Jewish thing. We're all supposed to, we're all invited to observe the Lord's Day. I don't know why or when it went from Saturday to Sunday for Christians. I really need to look into that, because the Hebrew Bible, which is a Christian text as well, clearly says it's the seventh day, right? After God created the earth. And in Hebrew, Sunday is Yom Rishon, the first day. So maybe the Christian calendar, the Catholic calendar, started counting in a different way, counting the week in a different way. I'll really need to look into that. But whether you celebrate it on, Shabbat, like Seventh-day Adventists who are Christians who do observe Sabbath on Saturday, or whether you celebrate on Sunday and go to church on Sunday, or set aside time for meditation, reading, being with your family on Sunday, I think, judging from who God seems to be, as we've been reading so far, I think it's more important for him that you take that time to connect with him, connect with your family, connect with your soul, with nature, once a week. And rather than, the details of what day it is. I could be wrong. I don't want to speak for God. I hope I won't get, damned to hell for my observation, but we could all use that break. My goodness. So, moving right along, it's getting close to Hanukkah. I'm going to show you a sufganiyah, which is, I already took a bite. It's this jelly donut, whatever language you use, it's still a jelly donut. And these are holiday treats in Israel. Pardon me. Be every Hanukkah. And why do we eat sufganiyot in Israel at Hanukkah and in Jewish communities? It's not a religious thing, but they're fried, actually double fried in oil. And Hanukkah is a festival of lights. And the miracle that we celebrate at Hanukkah is about oil. It centers around oil. And I'm just going to, before we dive into the Torah reading today, which is Numbers 15 in the Geneva Bible, the Revised Standard Version, and Chabad's Hebrew version. It's a very exciting chapter in a lot of ways, but I just want to tell you a little bit about Hanukkah, and then I'll tell you more as we get closer to Hanukkah. Hanukkah starts tomorrow night. So Hanukkah is the festival of lights in the middle of winter that celebrates a real historic event. I can't swear that the miracle really happened because I wasn't there, and we don't have, photography or video or, records exactly from that time. But it is part of our written and oral tradition that this was a real historical period. The Hasmoneans, a kind of Greek dynasty, was in charge of the Holy Land at that time. The Judeans, the children of Israel, had lost their supremacy, their kingship over the land, and it was being ruled by Hellenized people. And the Hellenized people, Greeks, and I learned a lot more about this than I knew 2 nights ago at Torah study with the Chabad rabbi in this part of Massachusetts, where we find ourselves periodically. It was an incredible Torah lesson, but he explained that there had been resistance by rebellious Jews who did not want to go along with the Greek suppression of the Jewish religion. The Greeks passed laws that said no circumcision. Of course, circumcision is fundamental to Judaism, as we saw from Exodus. And, periodically, God mentions circumcision as a sign that you are a member of this tribe, this ethnicity, the children of Israel, if you're male, of course. And they weren't allowed to observe Shabbat, and they weren't allowed to have new moon festivals, which isn't a big deal anymore in the modern era, but used to be a big deal, the celebration of the new moon in Jerusalem. And so this was really a kind of wiping out of what made Jews Jewish in that time in the Holy Land, which was under occupation by an alien culture. And what's so interesting about the way they suppressed, they weren't allowed to pray. The Greeks, as our rabbi explained, wanted to keep the Jews. They didn't want to wipe them out. Lots of people wanted to wipe us out. And they were happy to keep the Torah. They considered it a work of philosophy. And of course, the Hellenistic culture was very oriented toward works of philosophy. They have great respect. They had great respect for philosophers, and they certainly saw the Torah as a great work of philosophy. But they wanted to strip the divinity out of Jewish practice. And that really struck me when he said that, because 1,000% I feel that's the time we're in right now, and the motivation that we see right now. The globalists, the evildoers, the communists, the technocrats, all of whom are, aligning in certain ways against the West and against people all over the world who want to have freedom and liberty and freedom of conscience and rights, representation. They want to kind of keep the, London's still London, churches are still churches, synagogues are still synagogues. They still stand, but they want to strip the divinity. They, and this, I've talked a lot in these podcasts about the war on Christmas, the war on Christmas trees. There's more and more every day. France has not celebrating the new year because of fears of Islamists. Well, the new year initially was a religious celebration. There's attacks on synagogues, as you know, in New York. There's a Christmas tree was cut down in the north of England, a beloved Christmas tree, just cut down. You know, the baby Jesus was beheaded in Brussels, in a nativity scene. I could go on and on. You know, I've been talking about this quite a lot. But this is what communism does. And communism did it to China, you know, after the Communist Revolution. Keep the people, keep, you know, aspects of the culture, keep the language, strip God out of it, strip the divine out of it. Because when you do that, you also get people to forget that they are part of the divine, that they participate in the divine. They have the spark of the divine, which in Judaism, we definitely believe that everyone has a spark of the divine, and that it's our job to kind of make that blaze glow brighter and brighter in our lifetimes. And together, we bring all the sparks together and we illuminate this kind of fallen dimension that we're in. We're not supposed to wait until heaven, you know, to illuminate the world. We're supposed to actively grow that spark of the divine in each of us and all together and in the world. Klipot, it's called in Kabbalistic thought, the little fragments of divinity. Every time we do an act of a mitzvah, a commandment, or a just act, a merciful act, we heal the brokenness in the world, and we bring those sparks of the divine into a kind of wholeness, to make the world more like the kingdom of heaven, right? We're supposed to bring the kingdom of heaven down onto the earth in this lifetime, like not wait for heaven. That's our job. So this is being targeted. And again, back to the Hasmoneans, the divinity in the Torah and the divinity in Jewish practice, and the memory that Jews had that we were all participating in the divine, which I think is a gift to everyone, right? As you'll see from this chapter, it's not just for Jews. That was targeted. And so the rabbi explained that when the Maccabees, this family that fought and resisted the oppression of the Greek Empire, battled their way, you know, kind of miraculously winning fights against the Greeks, right? This powerful armies, powerful empire, fully armed, et cetera. And these were like renegades in the hills. When they finally made it to Jerusalem and to the Holy Temple, they went into the temple, and the Greeks had left lots and lots of oil, but they had left the oil for the menorah, the sacred menorah. And I've got a menorah back there. You can probably see it over my shoulder. You know, this menorah in my living room, you know, echoes, is the same shape as the menorah that you remember God described to Moses that he wanted inside the tent of meeting, right? It's that ancient a symbol. It's that ancient a utensil, a vehicle of divine light. And there was tons of oil, but it was all not sealed by the priestly seal. So it couldn't be used. It was impure according to Jewish law. So this was like the Greek methodology, right? Make it easy for them to do something impure. Make it easy for them to light the menorah, but not in a godly way. And that so resonates right now. Like, don't you feel like we're living in a time when everything, TikTok, Instagram, you know, credit card debt, right? Distraction, seduction, right? Everything's making it easier to do something not in a godly way, easier to take the impure road, right? And there was one jar that still had the priestly seal on it. And that jar was only enough oil for one night to illuminate the temple for one night. And the miracle, of course, the reason we celebrate for 8 days is that the oil miraculously lasted for eight nights. The holy oil lasted for 8 nights. And the rabbi went into some detail about the idea of purity versus impurity with the oil. It's not reductive, it's metaphorical. And we've talked about this a lot, you guys, because it comes up over and over in these chapters, pure versus impure. And it's not like you're born sinful and impure. That is a later Christian idea. I'm not criticizing anything, but it is 1,000% not in the Old Testament. You're not born in sinful. You're not born impure. But as a growing consciousness, you can definitely make yourself impure. And the tendency of human beings is always to kind of veer from the pure path, into impurity. And it takes all of these rituals to kind of remind you or bring you back to a state of purity. And the purity is, physical. You wash yourself, all the purity rituals, you bring a thing to the priest to burn it and send the smoke up to God. There's so many ways to purify yourself. If you're in a state of pure impurity, whether it's moral, you really did something horrible and it, or, you handled a dead body, or, you're a woman and you are getting over your menstrual cycle, right? There are so many discussions of pure versus impure. And the impure state isn't to, acknowledging it isn't to shame you, but it's to let you be self-aware, right? And to encourage you through that self-awareness to get back, through ritual, but more importantly, through thinking about God and God wanting you to be pure, right? Because God's pure. So it's about be pure so we can hang out together, right? So we can be aligned together, so we can be in a family. You're always encouraged to come back to a state of purity. So in that sense, and I've explained this a lot, but I think it's important, it's very different from Catholicism, or I would say medieval and early Renaissance Catholicism, in which is just a different cosmology, and not criticizing, but the West was very much shaped by, late Dark Ages, Middle Ages, and early Renaissance Catholicism, before the Reformation. And it just had a completely different idea of sin and like human grossness, right? So again, I just want to stress, and I think it's important in this Festival of Lights, in the Jewish path, in the, 5 books of Moses and the Torah, you're not born impure, right? Your job is to try to redirect when you get into a state of impurity, back to a pure state. But God is always waiting to welcome you back. And there are always steps you can take, not a priest. I mean, obviously you need help with your sacrifice in the middle of the desert from a priest, according to this, but it's not the priest that makes you pure again. Remember, I've said that a lot. It's not like in Catholicism when you make confession and the priest absolves you. No, with the children of Israel, the priest is helping you make your sacrifice, helping you orient your thoughts back to God. And then God is like, okay, you're in a pure state. I'm aligned with you. Let's hang out together. Let's keep going. So all of that is a preamble. That's what Hanukkah is. And it's a really beautiful, it's kind of an amazing holiday. I've always celebrated Hanukkah, obviously. Less and less as time went on. When you stop being a child, it's less easy to get excited about just lighting a candle and having little gifts, for 8 nights in a totally non-Jewish culture. In Israel, it's a lot of fun because everyone's doing it, right? But it's hard to kind of gear up to, wow, those Maccabees, they were awesome. It seemed very distant. But now that the Chabad rabbi has really explained it to me as a kind of model for our lives all the time, like getting back to purity, and really spelled out that what the Maccabees were up against is what we're up against, right? All of us, Jewish or not Jewish, right now, like a world that wants to keep our bodies alive, but snuff out our memory that we're part of a divine consciousness, a divine project, right? It's much more exciting. And I'm really thrilled to share these with my stepson. I got multiple sufganiyot here and 1 cake donut from my Catholic husband. He could have the sufganiyot too, but he doesn't like them because they're yeast donuts. And his dad had a donut shop. And so his association with yeast donuts, his waking up at 4 a.m. to help his dad open the donut shop in the middle of winter. I also got my Catholic husband this Siddur. You can get one too. And the reason I'm saying this, I'm not proselytizing, you're not supposed to proselytize, but it's so clear that a lot of people, Jewish or not Jewish, are looking for the deeper meaning in the Bible. And a lot of Christians are going back to the Hebrew Bible, back to the Old Testament, because they feel like their knowledge of the gospel is not contextual, and even that the teaching they have about Jesus is very, and Paul for that matter, is very decontextualized. And so they want to know, what did this come from? Because of course, contrary to what a lot of lunatics are saying on social media, Jesus was fully Jewish and Paul was Jewish. And they were both teaching coming out of a completely Jewish context, or I should say, Jesus in a completely Jewish context with some Samaritans, some Romans around, of course, in his world, and Paul in a oriented toward a much more mixed Mediterranean world of pagans as well as Jews, Gentiles as well as Jews, but they were both coming from this text, right? Both of them grew up reading this text, the Torah, what I'm reading to you, and they were deeply knowledgeable in it. And Christianity comes from these books. So this is, anyone can read this. It's the prayer book. It's a Siddur. You can get it with the English translation. You can get it on Amazon. It's not very expensive. And I gave it to my Catholic husband because he wanted it. I gave it to Jewish relative, and Brian saw that I had it and I was going to give it to a Jewish relative, and he's like, I'd like one of those. It's morning prayers, evening prayers, Shabbat prayers. It's check it out. Like, as we'll see from this chapter, I don't think anything bad happens when we share our sacred practices. I don't believe that, we all need to be in rigid boxes. If you're called to read the Psalms, they're your Psalms too. That, like King David, your Psalms, right? Like, no one says you're not allowed to participate in this practice. Just like I feel honored to read about Jesus, follow, his teachings wherever I can. They're distillations of Jewish practice. All right. So that's my preamble. And I'll also show you something else. I think it's amazing that this podcast is, again, in the top 200 in 10 countries around the world, and the Geneva Bible in 4 countries around the world, including the Republic of Congo and Nigeria and Indonesia and Pakistan. And I don't know why, as I've mentioned, but I was thinking, well, what are we doing? And why is this so compelling? There are so many fancy podcasts out there, and this is just a cozy room. And then I thought, well, maybe it's okay that it's just a cozy room and just our informal welcoming of you, into this discussion. And so on that note, Brian bought me this, a belated birthday gift. You're a great wife. That's Trump. Probably the best ever. Believe me, no one knows wives like I do. To say there is a better wife is fake news. You're great, so great, very special. So I got that today from my husband, and my stepson also was part of the gift giving, and I really appreciate it. And I'm just sharing that with you because, I don't know, after Shabbat, I feel very lucky, and I'm just I'm welcome you into, the celebration of those little gifts in our lives. And I'm encouraging you to also look at your life and think, what, do I have a donut? Do I have a coffee cup? Do I have one person who loves me? What a world of treasure all of that is, or your version of it. Okay, so let's get started with the Geneva Bible, 1560, this beautiful text. I'm going to enlarge it a bit. There we go. And I'm going to put on my glasses and work. No, I can't. I'm not going to put on my glasses. I'll lean forward. So chapter 15, and you can go ahead and read along with me. This is the Internet Archive. And the subheadline, as you remember, is, oh dear, I've got to plug this in. I forgot to do that. The subheadline is added, and it says, the offering which the Israelites should offer when they come into the land of Canaan, the punishment of him that broke the Shabbat. So that's pretty heavy. Pardon me for 1 second. I'm just going to plug this in so I don't lose you later on by it not being plugged in. And I should have thought of that earlier, but I didn't. So here we go. And the Lord spoke unto Moshe, saying, oh, this is the wrong one. That's not good. Well, I'll just keep going. Darling, I don't want to wake him up. He's napping. Bear with me, you guys. Read here we go. Read the text. If you have it, well, I get the right one plugged into the right thing. Bear with me. Here we go. Okay, I'm going to turn that off. That's okay. You're not going to have the decorative lighting, but you'll have the text not vanishing. All right. And the Lord spoke unto Moshe, saying, speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, when you be come into the land of your habitations, which I give unto you, and I will make an offering by fire unto the Lord, and will make an offering by fire unto the Lord, a burnt offering or a sacrifice to fulfill a vow, or a free offering, or in your feasts to make a sweet savor unto the Lord of the herd, or of the flock. Then let him that offers his offering unto the Lord bring a meat offering of a 10th deal of fine flour, mingled with the 4th part of an hin, which is a measurement of oil. Also, you shall prepare the 4th part of an hin of wine to be poured on a lamb appointed for the burnt offering or any offering. And for a ram you shall for a meat offering prepare 2 tenth deals of fine flour mingled with the 3rd part of an hin of oil. And for drink offering you shall offer the 3rd part of an hin of wine for a sweet savor unto the Lord. But when you prepare a bullock for a burnt offering, and the note says the liquor, meaning the juice of it, was so called because it was poured on anything that was offered. And when you prepare a bullock for a burnt offering or a sacrifice to fulfill a vow or a peace offering to the Lord, then let him offer with the bullock a meat offering of 3 tenth deals of fine flour mingled with half an hin of oil. And you shall bring for a drink offering half an hin of wine for an offering made by fire of a sweet savor unto the Lord. Thus shall it be done for a bullock or for a ram or for a lamb or for a kid, meaning a baby goat, according to the number that ye prepare offer, so shall you do to every one according to their number. All that are born of the country shall do these things, thus to offer an offering made by fire of sweet savor unto the Lord. And if a stranger sojourn with you, and this is the part I think is very interesting, if a stranger sojourn with you, or whosoever be among you in your generations, and will make an offering by fire of a sweet savor unto the Lord, as ye do, so he shall do. One ordinance shall be both for you of the congregation and also for the stranger that dwells with you, even an ordinance forever in your generation. As you are, so shall the stranger be before the Lord. Very important sentence. One law and one manner shall serve both for you and for the stranger that sojourns with you. And the Lord spoke unto Moshe, saying, speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, when you be come into the land to which I bring you, and when you shall eat of the bread of the land, you shall offer an heave offering unto the Lord. You shall offer up a cake of the first of your dove for an heave offering. As the heave offering of the barn, so shall you lift it up. And the note says, which is made of the first corn you gather. and corn at this time means wheat, of the first of your dove shall you give unto the Lord an heave offering in your generations. And if you have erred and not observed all these commandments which the Lord has spoken unto Moshe, and the note says, as by oversight or ignorance, even all that the Lord has commanded you by the hand of Moshe from the first day that the Lord commanded Moshe and henceforward among your generations. And if so be that ought anything be committed ignorantly of the congregation, by the congregation, then all the congregation shall give a bullock for a burnt offering for a sweet savor unto the Lord, with the meat offering and drink offering thereto, according to the manner, and an he-goat for a sin offering. And the priest shall make an atonement for all the congregation of the children of Israel, and it shall be forgiven them, for it is ignorance. As I was saying before, you can, mess up by accident, okay? And they shall bring their offering for an offering made by fire unto the Lord, and their sin offering before the Lord for their ignorance. Then it shall be forgiven all the congregation of the children of Israel and the stranger that dwells among them, for all the people were in ignorance. But if any one person sin through ignorance, then he shall bring a she-goat of a year old for a sin offering. And the priest shall make an atonement for the ignorant person when he sins by ignorance before the Lord, to make reconciliation for him, and it shall be forgiven him. He that is born among the children of Israel and the stranger that dwells among them shall have both one law, whoso does sin by ignorance. But the person that does aught, meaning anything presumptuously, whether he be born in the land or a stranger, the same blasphemes the Lord. Therefore that person shall be cut off from among his people, because he has despised the word of the Lord and has broken his commandment. That person shall be utterly cut off, and his iniquity shall be upon him. And while the children of Israel were in the wilderness, they found a man that gathered sticks upon the Sabbath day. And they that found him gathering sticks brought him unto Moshe and to Aaron and to all unto all the congregation. And they put him in ward, guarded him, for it was not declared what should be done unto him. Then the Lord said unto Moshe, this man shall die the death, and let all the multitude stone him with stones without the host, outside the community. And all the congregation brought him without the host and stoned him with stones, and he died as the Lord had commanded Moshe. And the Lord spoke unto Moshe, saying, speak unto the children of Israel, and bid them that they make them fringes upon the borders of their garments throughout their generations, and put upon the fringes of the borders a ribbon of blue silk. And he shall have the fringe, that when you look upon them you may remember all the commandments of the Lord and do them, and that ye seek not after your own heart, not after your own eyes, after which you go a-whoring. And the note says, by leaving God's commandments and following your own, it's hard to read what that word is, following your own instincts, that ye may remember and do all my commandments and be holy unto your God. I am the Lord your God, which brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am the Lord your God. Pretty heavy. Now let's go to the very big deal. I just really want to call your attention to the fact that God is saying multiple times in that chapter, there's one law for you and one law for the stranger in your midst. One ordinance for you, one ordinance for the stranger in your midst. You're all supposed to behave, follow the commandments in the same way. And I just think that's important because, Jews are often asked, what does it mean that you're the chosen people? That's so obnoxious. And as I said many times, we didn't come up with that in the Hebrew Bible. God says, I'm choosing you for this purpose and this purpose and this purpose, responsibilities, not privileges, right? But he's not choosing everyone else. And the rabbi up here in Massachusetts was very funny about this, because he said, we're the chosen people. You're the chosen people. Choose yourself, like say, I'm chosen too. God loves me too. Like that's what that means, right? That we're just saying, okay, God, I get that you love me and I need to do all these things to stay in a relationship with you. It doesn't mean he's not choosing everyone else. So he clearly is in this chapter. He's saying, and the stranger in your midst, and the stranger in your midst. And we're going to see what an important word that is, because it's mistranslated a bunch of times. Now, I'm just going to get up for a minute and check the connection, because for some reason this computer is not charging and I don't want to get cut off from you. There we go. Beautiful. Now it is. So let's go now to the Geneva Bible the 15, none of that is correct. The Chabad Bible, the Masoretic text, the Hebrew. Vayidaber Adonai el Moshe lemor, and spoke God to Moshe to say, Daber, and you know this word, you guys, speak, El Bnei Israel, toward the children of Israel, Va'amarta alehem, and say on them, Ki tavo el eretz, that when they come to the land, Mosh betechem, sworn to them, promised to them, Mosh betechem asher ani noten lechem, the land of your, I said that wrong. When they come to the land, Mosh betechem, it's the same root as Moshav. Lashevet, Moshav is like a community settlement, like a kibbutz. Lashevet is to sit. That's the same root. It's the dwelling place where you sit down, where you inhabit. The land of their dwelling, asher ani noten lechem, which I give to you. Ve'asitem ishel Adonai, and you make a fire to God. Olah o zevach, a burnt offering or sacrifice. Le-fale neder, like a peace offering, or express a vow, or b'ndava, or b'mo'adechem, and or in your acknowledgement, your swearing, la'asot reach nichoach, you know this phrase, to do a wind that is pleasing, to do a pleasing scent, reach, smell, nichoach, pleasing scent, l'Adonai, to God. I'm sorry, reach is only scent, it's not wind, that's ruach. A pleasing scent to God, min habakar or min hatzon, from the cattle or from the sheep. Vehikriv hamakriv, and he who brings closer, the close one who brings closer. You hear that repetition of karov, a word you know, which means to draw near. And the one who draws near and who brings, and again, I can't stress enough, when you draw near to God, when you bring something to God, you're drawing near to God, right? Whatever you bring. We were listening to the little drummer boy today in the car. The little drummer boy is makriving. He's drawing near to God by bringing his little drum rhythm, right? Whatever you've got, when you bring it to God, you draw near to God. Karbano, miraculous language. It's almost the same root, his offering, l'Adonai, to God, mincha solet, present a meal, isaron, balul, bir ve'it hahin shaman, a meal offering containing 1/10 fine flour mixed with a quarter of a hin of oil. V'yayin lanesech, revi'it hahin, and a quarter of a hin of wine for libation. Ta'aseh al ha'ala, you'll make with the burnt offering. O lezavach la keves ha'echad, or for the sacrifice, one for each lamb. O le'ayil, or for a ram. Ta'aseh mincha solet, you'll make a meal offering. Shnei esronim belula, 2/10 of fine flour, beshemen shlishi tahin, with oil, 1/3 of a hin of oil. V'yayin lenesech shloshit hahin, and a third of a hin of wine for libation. Takriv reach nichoach l'Adonai. You will, takriv, that word again, you'll draw near a pleasing aroma to God. You hear the repetitions. I really hope you do. V'chik ta'aseh, and if you will make ben bakar, a young bull, olah, as a burnt offering, or zavach lefale neder, or sacrifice by expressing a vow, or shlamim l'Adonai, or for a peace offering for God. Vehikriv, that word, and he'll draw near, he'll offer al ben habakar, the young bull, mincha solet, as a meal offering, or with the young bull, he'll offer a meal offering, shlosha esronim, 3/10, balul bashemen, mixed, fine flour mixed with chatzi hayin, half a hin of oil. So very specific, like ingredients for a recipe almost for these offerings. V'yayin takriv, that root again, and wine you'll draw near. Lenesech chatzi hahin, for libation, half a hin. Ishe reach nichoach l'Adonai, a fire offering of pleasing fragrance to the Lord. And I hope you hear the repetition, reach nichoach, this beautiful phrase. Kacha ya'aseh la shor ha'echad, so it shall be done, or thus you'll do for each ox or ram, or le'ayil, or for a ram, ha'echad, one ram, or laseh, or for young sheep, bakvasim, or ba'izim, or a young goat. Kemispar, as the number, asher ta'asu kacha, that you will do like this, ta'asu le'echad kemisparim. It, as with each number you offer up, so you should present for each one according to their numbers. Do the same thing proportionally. I think that means kol ha'ezrach. Now this is interesting. Kol ha'ezrach ya'aseh kacha. Every native born, but ezrach also means citizen. Ya'aseh kacha, will do like this. Et ele, these, lehakriv ishe, to bring closer a fire offering, reach nichoach l'Adonai, of pleasing fragrance to the Lord. Now, interesting, listen. V'chi yagur itchem, and if a stranger is with you, ger o asher betochechem, a stranger or he who is among you, ledorotechem, for all of your, you plural, generations, ve'asa ishe reach nichoach l'Adonai, they will make a fire offering of a pleasing fragrance to God, ke'asher ta'asu ken ya'aseh, as you will do, he should make it also. So I think this line 14 is very important, you guys. It's not a proselyte. In the Chabad, it's translated proselyte. Every translation, brings its own biases. A proselyte implies it's someone converting to Judaism, or someone who's not yet Jewish, but in the process of conversion. But that's not what it says in the Hebrew. And I hope that I'm not going to hear from a lot of, scholars who are contradicting me. By the way, I haven't heard yet from a scholar contradicting me. So far, so good. But yeah, it's a stranger. Ger is a stranger. It's a foreigner, literally. So it's not a proselyte. I read this as, if someone who's not even Jewish, well, Judaism didn't exist yet, but who's not a member of the children of Israel is living with you, they should do this too. They should make these observations too. There's one law, and this is line 15 is even clearer. Hakahal chuka achat, to the assembly, the congregation, one law. Lachem, to all of you, velager, and to the foreigner, the stranger. Hagar chukat olam, who lives with you, and that beautiful echo. I don't even know how Hebrew does it. Ger is like stranger. Hagar is who lives, and it's the same word. I don't even know how that's possible. Chukat olam ledorotechem. It's a law for forever, for all your generations. But plural directive case says it's for all of you, children of Israel, and it's for all the descendants of the people who live with you who are not members of the assembly. Kachem kager yeh lifnei Adonai. Like you and like the foreigner, it will be in front of the face of God. Torat achat, one law, Torah, that's what we're reading right now is the Torah achat, one law, umishpat echad, and one sentence, one ordinance, yiyeh lachem, there will be for you, velager hagar itchem, and to the stranger who lives with you. They translate it proselyte, who resides with you. V'daber Adonai el Moshe lemor. You know what that sentence means. And spoke God toward Moses to say, hey, darling, can you check my connection and make sure that I'm not going to fall off of it? There is a search for a suspect underway after shooting on the Brown campus, says Brian. Everyone, look after your kids if they're at Brown, and God protect everyone at Brown University and in Providence. Darling, thank you for that. Would you kindly check my connection to make sure that I'm getting enough electricity to my computer because it doesn't seem to be recharging. Okay, Daber el bnei Israel, speak to the children of Israel. Ve'amarta alehem bevoachem, and say to them, when you arrive, El haaretz asher ani mevi etchem shama, toward the land which I bring you there, all of you there. Ve'haya be'achalchem, and it will be in your eating, milechem, from the bread, haaretz tarimu truma l'Adonai. You shall set aside, when you eat the bread of the land, you'll set aside a gift for the Lord. Reshit, thank you, sweetheart. Reshit arisotechem, the first of your dough. Chala, that word chala, they still have it. Yeah, please, if you can. Tarimu truma, separate a loaf for a gift. Ki trumat goren ken tarimu ota. I hope you hear the multiple echoes of tarim, teruma. You shall separate a loaf for a gift, as in the case of the gift of the threshing floor, so you shall separate it. Thank you, sweetheart. My wonderful husband is helping me not get disconnected here and even get lit. Thank you, sweetheart. Mereshit ari sotechem, from the first portion of your dough. Titnu l'Adonai, give to God, truma ledorotechem, a gift in all your generations, meaning forever. V'chi tishku, and if you should make a mistake, velo ta'asu et kol hamitzvot ha'ele, and you don't do all of these commandments, that the root is sava, is like to command, right? All these commandments. Asher diber Adonai el Moshe, you know what that means, which spoke God to Moses. Et kol asher tziva Adonai, all of that which commanded God, alechem, on all of you, beyad Moshe, in the hand of Moses, like through Moses, min hayom asher tziva Adonai, from the day which commanded God, vehala, onward, ledorotechem, for all your generations. Like go back to the very beginning. You need to do all these commandments. Vehaya im me'enei ha'edah, if, because in the eyes of the congregation, from the eyes of the congregation, ne'esta lishgaga, it was committed inadvertently, ve'asu kol ha'edah par, and the entire congregation shall prepare a young bull, ben bakar echad le'olah, as a burnt offering for a pleasing fragrance to the Lord. L'reach nichoach l'Adonai, u min chato v'nisko ka mishpat, with its prescribed meal offering and libation, drink, ve'seir izim echad lechatat, and one young he-goat for sin offering. HaKohen, the priest, but really it's literally Cohen, that's the tribe he's from, the priestly tribe. Ve'kiper HaKohen, the the Kohen will atone al kol adat bnei Israel, on behalf of the entire congregation of Israel. V'nislach lahem, and it'll be pardoned to them. It'll be forgiven them. Ki shgagahu, because it was a mistake. Vehem hiviu et karbanam, and they have brought their offering, ishe, a fire offering, l'Adonai, to the Lord. V'chatatam lifnei Adonai al shgigatam, and they, sinned before the Lord as a result of their error. They made a mistake. They didn't mean it, right? It was inadvertent. V'nislach lechol adat bnei Israel, and it'll be forgiven to all the community of the children of Israel, v'lager hagar b'tocham, and to the stranger who lives among you. Ki lechol ha'am bishgaga, because everyone made a mistake. Ve'im nefesh achat, and if one soul, literally one person, techet bishgaga, sins inadvertently, vehakriva is, he'll draw near, offer up a she-goat, bat shnata, 2 years old, a year old, in its first year, lechatat, as a sin offering. Vekipera kohen al hanefesh, and the Kohen will atone for the erring soul, hashogeget, who makes a mistake, becheta bishgaga, which sinned inadvertently, lifnei Adonai, before the Lord, lekapera lav v'nislachlo, so as to atone on his behalf, and it will be forgiven him. And you hear the passive voice, nislach, he'll be forgiven. Ha-ezrach bivnei Israel, the citizens among the children of Israel, velager hagar betocham, and to the stranger who lives among you, Torah achat, one Torah, one set of laws, right? One law, Torah achat. This is what we're reading, the Torah. Okay, so he's saying one Torah there will be for you and the stranger who lives among you. Yiyeh lachem la Ose bishgaga, and the for anyone who sins inadvertently, whether it's a child of Israel or a stranger. Ve hanefesh, and the soul, asher to'aseh biyad rama, who sins high-handedly or who acts high-handedly, min haizrach umin hager, from among the citizens or the native born, and from among the stranger, et Adonai, hu megadef v'nichreta hanefesh, he's blaspheming the Lord, and cut off the soul, hahu, that, mikerev ama, from the closeness with his people. Ki dvar Adonai baza, because he scorned the word of the Lord. Ve'et mitzvato hefar, and his commandment violated. He karet tikaret. You hear that incredible echo. It rhymes. He karet tikaret. Hanefesh hahu onaba. He's violated his commandment. That soul shall be utterly cut off, for its iniquity is upon it. Va yiyu bnei Israel bamidbar, and the children of Israel were in the desert. Ve'yimtzeu ish, and they found a man, mekoshesh etzim b'yom hashabbat, cutting wood or gathering wood on the day of Sabbath. Vayakrivu, that word again, and they drew near, oto, they drew him near, ha-motzim oto, and presented him, they sort of found him, presented, oto mekoshesh etzim, as gathering wood, El Moshe ve'el Aaron ve'el kol ha'eda. They presented him in front of Moses and Aaron and be in front of the whole congregation. Vayanichu oto b'mishmar, and they put him under guard. Kilo forash ma ya'aselo, because it was not specified. Lifrosh is to analyze. It wasn't analyzed. It wasn't specified what was to be done to him. Vayomer Adonai, and God said El Moshe, to Moses, Mot yamut, the death he will die. You've heard that phrase before. Ha'ish ragom oto ba'ad avanim, put him to death. Kol ha'eda michutz lamachane, you'll put him to death. They'll all pelt him with stones outside the camp, outside the encampment. Vayetziu oto, and they put him out, kol ha'eda, the whole congregation, el michutz lamachane, outside the encampment. V'yirgemu oto ba'avanim, and they pelted him with stones. V'yamut ke'asher tziva Adonai et Moshe, and he died as the Lord commanded Moses. I really hope nothing naughty is going on back there, honey. We're reading the Word of God. No, you're just playing. Come here, baby. Come here. Come here. Come sit on my lap, sweetheart. Come sit on my lap. I know you're bored. I'm just going to pick up low-key, you guys. Bear with me. Bear with me. Come on, sweetheart. Come on. You know you like to sit on my lap when we're reading the Torah. Okay. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe lemor, and God spoke to Moses, saying, Daber el bnei Yisrael, speak to the children of Israel, ve'amarta alehem, and say toward them, on them, ve'asu lahem tzitzit, make yourselves fringes, al kanfei bigdehem, on the corners of your garments, un ve'natnu al tzitzit hakanaf, and they, throughout their generations, they will fix a thread of sky blue wool on the fringe of each corner, petil tchelet. And something really beautiful is the word tchelet. It doesn't exist in an exact translation in English. It's light blue or sky blue. It's not turquoise, it's light blue, but there's a single word, tchelet, for light blue. Kachol is blue or deep blue or whatever other shades of blue. I think that's really beautiful. V'haya lechem letzitzit, and they will be to you as fringes. Uritem oto, and when you see it, uzchartem, and you'll remember it, kol mitzvot Adonai, all of God's commandments. Ve'asitem otam, and you'll do them. Velo taturu acharei levavchem, and you will not wander after your hearts. Ve'acharei enechem, and after your own eyes, your eyes, asher atem zonim achrehem, as you whore after them. The translation is very polite. It says, after which you are going astray. But literally, you've seen this word zonim means prostitute. You are prostituting after them. Lema'an, and by the way, men can, prostitute themselves after something by behaving, with kind of selfish lust. Lema'an tiskeru ve'asitem et kol mitzvotai, for the sake that you will remember and you will do all of my commandments, v'item kedoshim le'elohechem, and you will be holy to your God. Ani Adonai Elohechem, I am the Lord your God, asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, who removed you, took you out of the land of Egypt, liot lachem le'elohim, to be to you, to a God, as a God, to be your God. Ani Adonai Elohechem, I am the Lord your God. Pretty serious. I'm going to stop the screen there. Wow, a lot going on. Well, before we go on, we're going a little over tonight because I had a lot to say. I hope that's okay. We have lots of people joining us and lots of comments. But before I go to the comments, I just, as always, want to read the Revised Standard Version and see if there are any glaring issues with the translation, or, to be fair, or if it's a pretty faithful translation. So let's take a look at the Revised Standard Version. And again, nothing against Catholicism or any sect of any religion, not comparing in a negative way Christianity or Judaism. Okay, sweetheart. They're all from the same root. All the Abrahamic religions, including Islam, are from the same sacred texts, from the same roots. But as you know, I have found a lot of issues with this particular modern translation. And I suspect a lot of modern translations have similar issues. So let's take a listen to the story we have here in the Revised Standard Version, and let's see what's going on. So their subheadline, I hate the subheadlines because they're not there in the original, is various offerings. When you come into the land you are to inhabit, which I give you, and you offer to the Lord, etc. So they go into the details, which I'm not going to read in any with any focus, especially the descriptions of what do you offer. You offer the bull, the ram, the wine. Now let's see how they translate lines 13, 14, and 15. All who are native shall do these things in this way, in offering an offering by fire, a pleasing odor to the Lord. And if a stranger is sojourning with you, or anyone is among you throughout your generations, and he wishes to offer an offering by fire, he shall do as you do. No, that's not what it says. It's that, that's not what it says, you guys. It's not if he wishes to. God is saying he needs to do this. There's no wishes. And the other word that is not really accurate is sojourn. Sojourn implies, it's an old-fashioned word. The word we use in English literature scholarship is archaic. It's a word, we don't say sojourn anymore. Are you going on a sojourn to, the Bahamas? We don't say that anymore. It means a journey. In the Hebrew, the stranger, the foreigner, is living, gar, with you, not sojourning, not passing through. And this makes it seem like the stranger isn't obligated with the same law that God sets out for the children of Israel. In the Hebrew, the stranger is living with the children of Israel. They're not just passing through, and they are obligated to offer. There will be one law. So this horrible translation, I'm sorry to be so frank, but honestly, it's embarrassing. This bad translation makes up and he wishes to offer an offering. No, this is shocking. It's literally blasphemy. And line 15, let's see. For the assembly, that's kind of accurate, the kahal, there shall be one statute for you and for the stranger who sojourns with you. No, he's living with you. A perpetual statute throughout your generations. As you are, so shall a sojourner be before the Lord. One law and one ordinance shall be for you and for the stranger who, they've got sojourns, lives with you. So that's not correct. Now, this is also not correct, I think. Let's see. The Lord said to Moshe, say to the people of Israel, when you come to the land to which I bring you, and when you eat of the food of the land, you shall present an offering to the Lord. Let's take a look at line 18 in the Hebrew. And I'm not going to switch screens. I'll just read it. To which I am bringing you. I guess that's accurate. Ani mevi etchem shama. I bring you to there. Let's see what it says in the Revised Standard Version again. The land to which I bring you. Okay, fair enough. And when you eat of the food of the land, literally bread, you shall present an offering to the Lord. Okay, but if you err and do not observe all these commandments, then it was done unwittingly. Okay, all the congregation shall offer one young bull. That's correct. Sin offering, that's correct. Oh, that's correct. And the priest, well, again, they translate it priest, but really in Hebrew it's Cohen still, right? Priest doesn't really exist in the same theological way yet. It's the Kohanim. The priest shall make atonement before the Lord for the person who commits an error when he sins unwittingly, and he shall be forgiven. That's correct. You shall have one law for him who does anything unwittingly, for him who is native among the people of Israel, and for the stranger who sojourns among them, the stranger who lives among them. But the person who does anything with a high hand, whether he is native or a sojourner, reviles the Lord, and that person shall be cut off from among his people because he has despised the word of the Lord and has broken his commandment. That person shall be utterly cut off. His iniquity shall be on him. On the Sabbath day, they put him in custody. And all the congregation brought him outside the camp and stoned him to death with stones as the Lord commanded Moshe. And it shall be to you a tassel to look upon and remember all the commandments of the Lord, to do them, not to follow after your own heart and your own eyes, which you are inclined to go after wantonly. Again, that's very euphemistic. It's, which you are inclined to whore after, literally in the Hebrew. So you shall remember and do all my commandments and be holy to your God. I am the Lord your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am the Lord your God. All right, so the rest of it is reasonably accurate. But the suggestion that it's up to the sojourner if they want to, hey, everyone's going to make an offering to God, I guess I'll go along, my friends are going. It's not like that. It's literally one requirement that God puts on everyone, and it's not someone just passing through, take it or leave it. I'll be kind of, sacrificing, making a pleasing fragrance to the Lord of the children of Israel, one day, but I really worship Baal, and I'm just going to keep going to the next town over where I get to worship Baal. But hey, I just passed through, guys. I just, when did your quaint little things? That's not it. That's not it in the Hebrew. You don't get to, it's not up to the person passing through. It clearly states in this passage that non-children of Israel live with the children of Israel. They are there in the desert with them. Whatever happened, people intermarried from, the Amalekites or the, Midianites, they're there. Non-children of Israel are with the children of Israel. And God is saying, you have these people with you. They are my children too. There's one law. It's not voluntary. It's not up to that person. If they're going to live with you, they are going to worship me and worship me in this way. And there's no kind of dip your toe in and out of it. So I just think that's really important. I mean, Jews, anti-Semites all over the internet are accusing Jews. You're going to see Brian pass through to go pick up a relative. And of course, Loki follows Brian everywhere he goes. But thank you, sweetheart. But I'm going to hold on to Loki, sweetheart, so he doesn't go dashing out after you, because Loki loves Brian best. It's okay. I can handle it. I've accepted that Loki loves Brian best. Look at this. Loki cannot stand it when Brian leaves. He's like, what happened? It's okay, baby. I'm still here. I'll look after you. He's like heartbroken, but overjoyed when Brian comes back. It's all right, baby. So the internet is alive with anti-Semites saying, oh, you guys are so kind of, what is the word? You think you're above everyone else. You think you're special. You think you're different. Our sacred text clearly says, if people are living among you, they join in, right? And that's our sacred text. So, no, go read the Bible. Horrible anti-Semites. That's not Judaism. Or again, this is pre-Judaism. It's not rabbinical Judaism yet, but it's not what the God of Israel asked the children of Israel to do. The God of Israel said to the children of Israel, bring the people who are not from your tribe into these practices. It's one law, one Torah. He said it's one Torah. So if you are listening to this and you are not Jewish, in Numbers 15:15, God clearly said, doesn't matter. There's one Torah, right? You are welcome to this sacred text. All right, let's take a look at the comments. Interesting. I hate to kind of raise this concern, but it's happening. We have to face it. Tofat 1676 says Islam is likely a driver in the attacks on Christmas and Christians in Europe. And then I'm not going to read the next sentence. I'm sorry, I'm not censoring you. Everyone can read it. I don't like to say that any religion except like devil worship is a demonic religion. There are many wonderful Muslims I know, many beautiful things about Islam and the Holy Quran. It's a text that's very much overlapping the Gospels and the Hebrew Bible. But also, I will acknowledge that right now we're in a time, it's like the Crusades all over again, you guys. It's like the Middle Ages. The globalists are using Islam as a kind of spear to get at the civilization in Western Europe and North America. And it's horrible, but we have to face it. I would say we have to do it without condemning, every Muslim the religion of Islam itself. Certainly fundamentalist Islam, I think, is a horrible distortion of the Holy Quran and is a, medieval tribal set of beliefs, especially how they treat women and girls. I'll just say that. But we have to fight for civilization now in Western Europe and North America, recognizing that radical Islam is being weaponized and trying to do it without condemning a whole religion. It's going to be difficult, but it's important. Let's see. The children of Israel are already there. It is the people the IDF is killing. Okay, I'm not sure what you mean by that. The children of Israel are already there. There in Israel, I assume you mean it is the people the IDF is killing. I'm not sure what that means exactly, or, I assume you mean the people of Gaza. Just to note, there's a ceasefire. So no, that's not happening anymore. And I just want to remind everyone that Israel doesn't occupy Gaza. Gaza is Palestine, right? The leaders of Palestine run Gaza and the West Bank. They do. So I hope there will be peace there forever. This person says Mossad shill. I can't seem to post the comment. I'm not a Mossad shill. I'm reading the Hebrew Bible. I'm sorry. That's what it says. God, it's interesting. God so clearly over and over in the Hebrew Bible says, I'm bringing you to this land. This is your land. I'm going to give you this land. To the children of Israel, that I kind of feared and realized that sooner or later I would get in trouble for just reading this ancient sacred text, because it's so clearly, like, people don't tend to read it in its entirety anymore. And if you do read it, it's very hard to argue that there is no religious or political prior relationship of the descendants of those people to that country. I want peace. I want Palestine. I want Israel. I want everyone to live in peace and harmony. But I'm not trying to be political, but this is a sacred text. It's been around for 3,500 years. And, this is what people in the desert said God said. I wasn't there, but all the Abrahamic religions derive from this text. So go argue with the people who wrote it down, right? I didn't make this up. All right. And I'm not a Mossad shill. Okay. What have we got here? A lot of very angry comments that I'm not going to post. Kind of someone spamming me. So let's try this. Israel Anderson says, we need to be asking who is Yahweh. His identity is critical to understanding what's going on here. Who is Yahweh? And there is a YouTube URL. Go take a look. Oh, that's really beautiful. That's really beautiful. Hi, Barry Atkinson. What comes into our minds when we think about God is the most important thing about us. That is a beautiful quote. And I hope that as we read this, my concept of God totally changed. And we're only like 4 books in. I hope your concept of God may be evolving as well. Definitely, I say this so much, to a more patient, tolerant, loving, present, human-like, father-like, mother-like being, consciousness, who wants to be with us. Like, that's just the message. And this is a lovely one. Sandy Hardy 3419 says, those of us who are loyal to him are a pleasing aroma to him. It's throughout the Old and New Testament. It's so beautiful. I 1,000% agree with you, Sandy Hardy 3419. And it's also very prescient. It's good noticing literarily that you are hearing the echo of the Old Testament in the New Testament, because I believe Yeshua does say that, and a sweet savor unto the Lord. I'll need to look, but it's definitely, these texts echo back and forth with each other, right? There's so much invocation of the Old Testament in the New Testament. And I think that's right. I mean, I don't think it's about the rams. I've said this a million times. God doesn't need the burnt rams. God doesn't need the burnt offering. He doesn't need the, tenth of a hin of flour or wine or oil. He's got all that stuff that he needs. He doesn't need that. He doesn't eat or drink, but he needs our consciousness. And when we are in a devotional state, trying to connect with him, these offerings are for us. It's often been explained to me by Chabad that these offerings are for us to remember and connect and focus our minds. But then we become metaphorically a sweet savor to the Lord. Let's see if there's anything else. And hi, Autumn. She's a good friend of ours. I yearn for the America I knew growing up. I know. I don't fit into whatever this technocratic, authoritarian, brave new world society and culture we have become is. Me either. That's two of us, Autumn. I feel the same way. And that may be why I'm drawn to read this text, is like to invoke the roots of the civilization that used to hold us up in this country. I know he is a great husband. I'm so lucky. He takes really good care of me. And I hope I take really good care of him. And I think that this is pretty much the time that we've got. And the comments, Netta Slabi, hi Netta, calling in from Japan, God of justice and mercy, absolutely. And I got a nice compliment from Roscoe Rossi. Thank you. He likes, it's just a nice compliment. Thank you very much, Roscoe Rossi. That's very kind of you. And I guess I'll just stop there. We've got a little bit over, but I'm grateful for all of you. Tomorrow night is the first night of Hanukkah. If you know any Jews, ask if you can go celebrate with them. If you want to go to a public candle lighting ceremony, there are a lot of them, a menorah lighting ceremony. Go check it out. I'm so tired of people attacking us, this wave of anti-Semitism based on ignorance, and a lot of people who have never met any. So go meet some Jews. Go, hang out at the menorah lighting, see what it's all about. I hope that you will feel warmed by this beautiful festival of lights, just like I feel warmed by other religions when they're shared with devotion and inclusiveness, whether it's Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, Buddhism. I'm going to skip the Church of Satan, which is just down the block because I don't like them. But everything else, let's join hands and, make our way up that mountain, whatever our path. It's already tomorrow in Japan, so the Hanukkah party has already begun. And I just love you all to bits, and we'll go ahead and pick up again with number 16. I hope you found that interesting. Again, the takeaway is there is no division between Jews and non-Jews, or the children of Israel and the other people living with them, when it comes to one law, one Torah, to draw near to God, lehakriv, to come near to God. We're all in it together. Love you all. Thank you so much. Remember, please, the more you share this, the easier it is for me to keep it coming. So, and you can also celebrate your Messiah, because there's room for everyone. Go over to Substack, Outspoken, support it, become a sponsor, donor, or a free subscriber. And over on Daily Clout, if you subscribe or donate, it helps us keep these podcasts and our other podcast, Outspoken, going out into the world, where, again, unbelievably, we're in the top 1 or 210 countries. Incredible. I love you all. Let's keep sharing these wonderful conversations with each other. And I'll see you soon. Happy almost Hanukkah and everything else.